To start this project, I need a board. I have this old cup hanging board in the kitchen which I have used since maybe 2 or 3 years. Now it's time to renovate it, and for this purpose I need to cover it with a texture paste or wall putty. If you have wall putty, you can also use that, but I'm going to make my paste by my own. It's a bit cheaper and a bit harder and a bit stronger than the wall putty. So you need a wood glue for this. I'm using wood glue, German wood glue and plaster of Paris. Only these two things would be enough to make a strong paste. The consistency varies because it depends on the how thick or thin your glue would be. So I'm using right now equal amount of both. Like if I'm using half cup of glue, I'm adding half cup of plaster of Paris, or maybe a little bit less plaster of Paris in the beginning. So if your consistency is thin, you can add it later. Rubber spatula. I'm not covering the whole area because I have to keep this area plain or simple, and this area to be covered with the flowers which I have made using mold, silicone mold. For this I will give you the link below how to use silicone mold and sculpture paste or any paste, Sculpey or ready-made wood or clay paste are available in the market, so you can use any brand of it. Now it's time to spread it evenly. I already have this paste in this cone, so I'm also adding this one as well. I made the same paste earlier and just fill it in the cone because I was doing cone project. So this is the same paste. Now cover it, cover the whole surface area. At this area I am using a little bit thick paste, and while going towards outward, the paste thickness would be reduced. First of all, I have to cover this area over here completely. There is an edge over here which has been scored. You can cover it, keep it as it is, but I'm covering it not too much, cover it. Just need to cover this area well, and after moving upward, just spread the paste so there would be no height between two levels. It seems to be even. Like this, from higher area to lower area. There's a hole over there, has to be get filled. The result of the paste is very good because the wall putty, plaster of Paris and glue, when we mix these two ingredients, the paste we get is very strong and hard. Sometimes wall putty or wall filler ready-made wall filler won't give you such an excellent result. This is how I spread the paste, give texture to it, little bit texture, not too much. Now when the paste is wet, it's time to place the flowers. I use this silicone mold, and this is sunflower mold, and to make this sunflower using air dry clay. So you can also make the flowers and get them dry. If you use dry flour, that would be better, because the paste or the clay you used, this one when it get dry, it get shrink, and when you paste wet flour or wet outcome on any surface, when it gets shrink, it have cracks after getting dry, because the back side of this project have been fixed, and the shrinkage will create cracks in it. So it's better to make the flour first, get them dry, and after that you put the projects on put the dry flour on your base project. So my flour is totally dry. Now it's time to arrange it. I have no idea what has to be done, because there is something in my mind to overlap two flowers over here. I have one small and two big flowers. So first of all, I will place a bigger one over here. Let's start from here. Just make sure you have good area. If you paste this dried flour on the texture paste, the paste will grip the flour very well. But if you paste this flour on any surface, flat surface, with the glue, there will be chances to get it broke down, because this paste will hold or fill the gaps in the back side of the petals. So I put the first flower over here. Now the second one with low height. Just arrange the petals accordingly. We will paint it afterwards, so there will be no flaws visible later. I think I have just this petal here, so I must just need one more petal here. There is no, so no problem. Now I will use the smaller one. To cover this area, I will add smaller flower. Yeah. Like this. Sometimes you can overlap the flower as well, like this. It's better to overlap, I think. It will give a better result. I have no idea what I'm doing right now, because this I have something in my mind, but I'm not sure the exact picture. So I'm taking risk and overlapping it just to smooth the base first. Add more paste before adding the last petal. Okay, has been done, and here we go. This is the arrangement of the flower right now. I have one stem over here, but I can use cone or this same texture in a cone in a piping bag to create the stems. Here I'm going to add these birds. Birds can be the stem of the birds can also be extended, and the leaves. The leaves would be set after I will add the stems, because the leaves has to be arranged on the stem. I'm just going to use this paste beneath the petals which are a bit heighted, so it will give a support to it. You can also use a wet brush to remove extra paint or to give shape to the paste. Sometimes the paste oozes out from the spaces, from the gaps, so it has to be get smoothened. So now I am going to make the same paste again, and using a piping bag and to draw the stems. I have filled the same paste in the piping bag. This paste gets dry very fast, so you need to be very hurry. If you already have this paste, you should apply it very quickly or use it. You cannot store this paste because it gets hardened. You can shape the stem using wet brush. Like this. Keep on making the stems. I can add this stem over here because it's a little bit thin. Add the extra. Make a thick stem for the sunflower here. It's very important to smoothen the paste or shape it. This. We give a little bit support under this stem so you don't get broke. I need a thin piping bag, and I am shifting it to the thin piping bag because I already have this. I was using this piping bag for my other project. So I'm going to shift this paste into another piping bag, so I get the thin lines. For this I'm using a bag, it's glass, and shifting this paste to another bag. And cut the edge thinner than the previous one. Fix the paste. draw the lines. Draw the incomplete lines first. This stem will come from here. Merge both lines so it looks one. Now it's time to draw some more lines. Like this. Keep on adding the branches according to your choice, according to the space, because I am just filling the area with the help of branches. Just smoothen it. Add more. Like this. Now it's time to smooth the lines. After smoothing, I will add the leaves. So I must add the leaf first. After that, I will smooth it. You can use the leaves to hide your flaws as well. If your line get break or it has a bubble inside, you can add the leaves over there. You need to use the paste as soon as possible, because my paste is getting hardened now. So if it get hard, it won't be able to use, especially from the piping bag. You can use the same paste in the back of the leaf and paste it here. This is how I fill the spaces. It should be here, like this. Now it's time to smoothen the paste, which I will use a wet brush to make it smooth paste. And just to finish this paste, I will draw some more lines anywhere I want. But this paste is hard now, so it's a bit tough for me to manage it. Just check all the leaves, either they have been pasted well in the area where the level of the paste is less, like this. So after getting dry, the next step would be the coloring, which I will show you when it gets completely dry. It gets totally dry. This is how it's looked after drying. Now it's time to paint. First of all, I'm going to sand this area, especially just to make the surface flat. So to sand it well, after sanding, clean it with a wet cloth. Now I am going to paint only this area where I pasted the flowers. I am using black paint, and the paint should be very diluted. You can use acrylic color, chalk paint, anything else. I am using chalk paint, and the consistency of paint should be diluted, so it could easily get into the deeper areas. I'm just going to paint the flowers, the leaves, this area, not further than that. My black paint dried completely. Now I'm going to do lighter color, white, off-white, or any lighter tone. Whenever you apply paint on the flower or on the uneven surface, make sure the consistency of paint should be thick, because thin or diluted paint will penetrate into the grooves, which we don't want to get into it. So take a thick paint and use dry brush technique and just brush on the pattern like this. Just make sure that paint don't get into the deeper areas. This is the white chalk paint. You can use any other paint. You can also use acrylics, but I am using chalk paint right now. Look how the picture is visible, and the black is the depth, become the depth of this painting. I'm not pressing the brush too hard. I'm just applying the paint on the surface only. Don't forget to paint the sides, which I will do it later. Check the paint is very thick. You can also do double coat of it, of this white color paint. Don't forget to paint the sides. Like this. When the paint gets dry, I will do another coat on it of the same white color or off-white color. I'm going to do another coat on it. This is how my first coat of paint have been done. Now after that I will use yellow color and the green colors, and I will use color to paint the flowers. Of course yellow and green for the flower and the leaves. Let the paint dry completely. After that I will show you how to paint the colors. You can stop the painting at this stage, or you can also use acrylic colors to enhance the color of the flowers. So I'm using color pattern. I'm using acrylic colors to give color to the flowers, and without using water. I'm using brush technique, dry brush technique. Whenever you use yellow color, just add touch of red to it, so the brightness of the yellow can reduce. You can also give shade to it, because the inward of the petals seems to be a little bit dark. So I'm starting from the brown and blending it with the yellow. Don't use too much of it. Don't use too much brown color. Now clean the brush. Whenever you use different color, try to clean the brush or wash it. Right now I'm not going to merge both colors. I'm applying separately, like this. And after that I will blend them. Like this. To highlight this color, yellow color, apply more yellow. So my color is about to end. So I'm just tapping to. When it gets dry, I will again apply yellow color. Now it's time to do the next flower with the same pattern. The bird would be green and brown. The center part of the bird is brown and black, so I'm using dark brown. till here, and the rest part should be yellow and green. Yellow, a little bit of green. This is how you can give the shades, like this. For the leaves, I will use green. You can use bottle green at once or mix light green and blue to get darker green. This is, I will add more green in it, or you can also add yellow color in it. I'm adding green. You can also add a little bit brown, so you will get 3 shades over here: brownish green, bright green and bluish green. Now start coloring the leaves. Try to do half of the leaf dark and half in lighter tone. First of all, I'll do all the half leaves dark. Now for the lighter tone, I will add yellow color in it. I think you notice that I am not adding any water in it. Actually, I am doing dry brush technique. Similarly, I will do the rest of the flowers. For the branches, I am using brown color. The lower branches or the thick branches should be brown and the rest should be green. Like this. I'd like to complete the painting and show you the result. Now it's time to give highlight to the flowers. For highlighting, I use white color again because you can see these two flowers are not yet been highlighted, and this flower has been highlighted in the leaves as well. So they are the design and the vines are highlighted and more visible. So just take little bit of base color. It can also highlight it and also reduce the sharpness of the color. You can see the yellow color is very sharp, very bright. So when we use dry brush with very thick paint and just apply it on the flower, the shape of the flower get visible again. these two flowers are wet, so I will not touch it until it gets dry completely. So the branches and the leaves, you can see the leaves are visible, but the total color of total green color is not completely hidden. You can see the green color as well. Too much sharp color doesn't look good, so just to make it balanced and make the sharp color dull, just use white color again. This white base color, which I have already been used, will merge the painting. That you can see that the flowers and base are now incorporated well. I will just do some petals because the flower is still wet. If I will paint on the wet flower, look what I have done. I just merge the brown color on the petal, so I must wait until it gets completely dry. This is how I finished this painting. You can see the close-up. In the next step, I will going to add paper and sunflower over here. I just print out the A4 paper, just normal printer paper, and I will just add half of the flower over here. So you can see the 2 or 3 mediums in it: decoupage, mold outs, and you can also add some sculpted flower on it to give it more boost. So for this step, this is a very short step. I'm going to just tell you it in a quick way, just to tear the sides of the flowers. Don't use scissors or anything else, just tear with your hands and your fingers. The next step, adjust the pattern. So I might not need this leaf. Remove the leaf part. Okay, I think my flower will get fit over here. Very well. I'm not going to paste whole flower. You can paint this branch and and merge both stems with each other. Okay, now there are 2 methods. Is the decoupage, image transfer technique. You can see so many videos of mine of image transfer, and the next is the decoupage with paper. To do decoupage with paper, you just need to paste the paper as you paste the napkin. For pasting the paper, I am going to use Mod Podge or polyurethane. For the paper decoupage, you just use a tray, some water, put the paper on it so the paper can soak very well. Why I'm soaking the paper first? Because when anything gets wet, it expands, and when paper touches the Mod Podge or any liquid, it expands. So there are so many chances to get wrinkle on it. And when the paper is wet, the glue part or Mod Podge, anything which you are using for the paste would be penetrate into the paper. So penetration is very important. Just wet the paper, apply the Mod Podge on the area where you want to place the flower. Now carefully lift the paper. You can also use the same step with the napkin, but in the napkin case you cannot lift the napkin with fingers. You need a sheet or any support to lift the napkin. I will teach you the same technique with the napkin as well, but first you just check how I paste the paper. Just leave the extra part down. It will take time because the paper is very wet. It will take time to get dry. You can also seal the whole project using the same glue. You can see the glue or sealer. This is the sealer, not the glue. Now you let the paper get dry completely well, or you can also use hair dryer to make it dry. This flower is sharp. You can see the color of the flower, and these are dull. So you can also give some color to your previous flower. It's optional. If you think this flower is brighter than the other one, you can give some touches of yellow. And you can also use white color to dull this flower. I will show you how. I'm not going too much color to it. I'm just using tissue paper to remove the extra. This is an extra step. There should be something in your mind what the picture should be look like. Okay, now I'm going to wait for this flower to get dry completely, and as well as I will complete this stem. Just join the stem together. My flower is completely dry. You can see the edges are very visible because the color of the paper is not the same as the base. So I'm using the base color and merging both. We tear the paper just because we get the equal level. If you cut the paper, the level of the paper and the level of the base will change. You can easily see that something is pasted on it. You can also, using dry brush technique, to give it a little bit dullness to the flower, as I did earlier in the previous flowers. Like this. This is how my project is almost done. You can add any text over here or just keep it simple. This is the complete picture of my flower. Let me show you. In the end, I added a little bit color stenciling and texture based stenciling. This is rice stenciling and the color stenciling just to cover the area. This is the final look of my painting.